Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are watching or listening to The Sticky Side, depending on what your favorite podcast platform is. Hey, Rob, I'm excited
Yes,
about
sir.
today's episode, man. This is episode 2 of The Sticky Side, and we have probably, arguably, the greatest cornhole player on the planet as our first
I,
guest.
I mean, I don't know how you can argue.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
no, there
really?
is no argument really. This dude is the best player, and I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to watch him do some of his thing and just his mental makeup when he's in a game. It doesn't matter if he's down 14 points or not. The guy is just he's unreal.
Well, without further
Greatest player
ado,
of all time.
let's bring him onto the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Matt Guy to the show. What's going
Oh
on,
wait,
Matt?
it's Matt Guy.
Who did
All
you think we
right.
were going to say?
Nice. Brett guy. Duh.
Yeah, right. Hey, th- thanks for being on the show, Matt. You are our first guest, and like I was telling
Right on.
Rob, it's fitting that we only have the GOAT of cornhole on the sticky side as our first guest. So we appreciate it, and thank you for taking the time out and joining us.
Oh, yeah. When you sent out the invite, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
That long time overdue, man. I was trying to get you on my other podcast, but then, back at ACL World, Rob approached me about doing this, and I was like, you know what, this will probably be a pretty good venture, man. I think the cornhole world needs a podcast that's kind of like in your face and can get majority of the great players on it. And we've known each other for a few years, I
Yep.
think. So build a
Yep.
little rapport there. And Rob is the knowledge of cornhole. So why not do this? I'm just the one that makes the bad jokes. That's it.
I'm pretty good at that myself.
All right. Well,
Yeah, it is. It's an incredible honor to have you on here. Like we were talking before, a little bit off. It's I've been playing the game probably since 2015, and I remember the first day I met you was in Pittsburgh it was a major, and you were there in a match, and I was just watching you do your thing, and I was just like, this guy is unbelievable. I had no idea when I first got started that 8 wasn't the number, the number that you were scoring a lot, because I started in the backyard and I was beating my dad all the time. He was throwing 6s, I was
Sure.
throwing 8s. I thought it's got to be the way, right? But no,
Sure.
no, that wasn't it. And it's just
Yeah.
unbelievable to watch somebody with your skill, year in and year out. Just no doubt about it.
well,
Yeah.
Matt.
I have my ups, I have my downs, but 21 years of consistency speaks for itself. Yeah.
Well, your
Yeah.
downs are few and far between. I think you've had a lot more ups.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say so. I
Yeah.
would say so, but I am human. I definitely have had my downs.
No, man, we thought you were like a robot, a bag throwing cyborg. Oh. Hey, look, so Matt, for the people that don't know you out there like we do and don't know your story, can you give us a brief look into how you got started? I know the story with the horseshoes, and
Yep.
me and Rob were talking earlier. We were like, man, they must have been too heavy or something, or maybe you got hit by one on the shin, or who knows. But no, can you take us back? Let us know how you became Matt Guy, greatest cornhole player on the planet.
Now the horseshoes, I mean, it was fine, and I was very good at it. But cornhole, man, it just from the first time I picked up and threw was just natural as could be. I used basically my horseshoe pitch. I just adjusted it for throwing a 1 pound bag 27 feet. Everything else was the same, and it was just instantly I was the best player out there. And and then not long after I played my first time, I started saying, "Oh, I can win a little bit of money doing this," because there was really no money to be won in horseshoes. Oh, I can go play in tournaments and win money at this. All right, so I just started finding tournaments and playing in them, and 21 years of it. Now I'm still here, and I'm still hanging around the top.
Do you remember how much you won in your first tournament? The first purse you ever
Uh,
won.
okay, the first tournament I played in, we did not win, but the first purse I won in a tournament was $100 a piece.
Okay.
That was at a church festival on the west side of Cincinnati.
And now you're
What
winning how
gave
much?
Well, this weekend I'm playing against my son. The winning team gets 50,000. So yeah, it's stepped up a little bit from the early days.
Oh yeah, it's definitely stepped up. Stepped up.
What gave you the vision to see that cornhole was going to be something where you were going to be able to possibly make a living? 21 years ago, there's no way that. I mean, you had to see that yourself. So how did you see it? How did you know?
Man, I just started playing in basically Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois was where we was finding all the tournaments back in the early days. And then, every year would go by, I would just see it spreading out a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And, before you know it, we was going to 7 or 8 states a year instead of 3 or 4. It's picking up steam, but there was still nothing out west. And I'd say the big kicker was when I really started seeing it pick up steam out west in the, probably 2013, 14, it started picking up steam out west. I was like, oh man, this pretty much has gone nationwide. Let's see if it's going to go any further there. And then obviously, I think it was 2015. Is that the first time ACL had something on ESPN?
I think
2015.
I think it might have been 15 or 16.
Well,
but
in 15 and 16, you were the ACO King of Cornhole.
Well, there was actually the year Brett won. It was 2013. Brett won the ACO King of Cornhole in 2013, and that was the first little smidget of ESPN stuff that happened. It wasn't like
right.
the whole tournament.
Came to Knoxville and had a little feature, right?
Yeah.
Kenny Mayne, who was an ESPN broadcaster, it was at Turfway Park in Florence, actually close to where we lived. But, they did a little, it wasn't much, a little spit on Brett on ESPN. And I was like, wow, ESPN's starting to take notice. When ESPN gets in the game, that's when your eyes really start opening, going, wonder where this game's actually going to go. And then, obviously when Stacey Moore and the ACL came to town and they just gave it that big push, I think that the game needed, and put everything into it, I think that the game needed. That's 2016ish. That's when it really started step laddering up and up and up, and every year it just goes up and up and up. And I mean, I keep telling Brett, man, in 2 years, this might be all we're doing. I know there's already some younger players in the game that's all they're doing, and great for them. If I was in their situation and that's all I could do at that age, damn right I'd be doing it. But when you're at our age and you got families and kids and house payments, it takes a little bit more, but hey, it's on its way. Definitely on its way.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt. Okay, so you're kind of one of the one of the top,
I am. Yep.
One of the pioneers of the game. Like, you started in the ACO in what year was it? Was it
2005?
2005. Wow. So, and you've won how many King of Cornholes?
9.
Jeez.
Like, you've been in the finals in the ACO several times. You've been ranked number 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, somewhere along there. So to see cornhole on ESPN and CBS and the sponsors and the money to be made now in this sport, how does it make you feel as arguably the game's greatest and most decorated player?
Being 50, that it took 20 years too long.
Right. Yeah.
I wish it would have happened when I was 30.
No, I definitely get that, man.
But no, and the joke was throughout the years, this game's gonna be real big time when you're too old to hang. Yeah, that could be the case. Don't know. That could be the case, but I mean, I'm just ecstatic. I just take it all in stride. I absolutely love it, and to sit there and to do it myself, and also watch my son do it. And he's a young man. This could be his lifetime. You know what I mean? It very well could be the rest of his life just doing this. So that thought right there brings tears to my eyes. It really does, because I remember him as an 11-year-old kid. Hey, Dad, can I throw with you? Well, sure, buddy, come on. And here we are today, getting ready to battle on ESPN.
I mean, so there are players out there right now that are winning championships that were probably in diapers when you first started playing, Matt. Isn't that crazy to sit and think about?
Yeah,
diapers. Maybe not even here.
I was going to say, the ACL champion wasn't even thought of yet.
Oh,
Right.
you're talking to Trey Birchfield.
Yep.
He's what,
Yep.
17?
18.
That's
I think he
crazy
just
to
turned
think
18.
how players are just getting better and better and better every year, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, all the new bags out there and just the exposure, you got more people coming into the game. So obviously the talent level is going to go up.
Yeah.
How have you been able to hold them off? How have you been able to stay at the top? What has done that for you? I know I've seen your practice sessions, and all you do is make bags. But how have you been able to hold people off and stay at the top with, so well?
I mean, it's so mental. I mean, it's just so mental. I mean, the mechanics are there. I mean, every single player that's an ACL pro can throw the bags in the hole. We all know that. It's a matter of how tough can you keep it mentally to where you're throwing every bag out of your hand straight. I mean, that's the difference of winning and losing. Throw the bag straight in the hole, not in the hole, you're going to be in the game. But it takes a lot of mental fortitude just to do that time after time after time after time after time. And some of the best days are when you're just unconscious. You don't even have to think about it. Everything you throws goes in. That's the best tournament you can have, but it's not always that way. Then it becomes a mental game. Just mental toughness.
What do you do?
Bud Light helps with that.
Bud Light. I was about to ask you, what do you do to train your mental toughness? Like, do you meditate?
No,
yoga?
The mental toughness just kind of happens. As far as the training, I train my body and my mechanics to try to do that same thing over and over and over again. The mental toughness, I mean, honestly, it just comes natural, when competition starts, your mindset changes and you try to get that focus down. And, I really don't practice that. I practice mechanics. The mental focus and toughness comes during an actual competition.
How long do you practice?
And it just happens. I mean, usually hour and a half, 2 hours. Lately, and well, actually, I shouldn't say lately. This whole year, probably 3 to 4 times a week, hour and a half, 2 hours. Well, sometimes more, sometimes less. I got a job, so sometimes more, sometimes less.
How do you find time for that job? I mean, God, like running a podcast or 2 podcasts and other things I do and trying to work a full-time job, it seems impossible. So I'm like, how in the world do you do it?
Well, I have a full-time job and I do very well at my full-time job. I make good money doing it, but I work my ass off doing it. A normal day for me is out of bed by 6:15, and usually get home about 6. So it's long days, but the good thing about my job is I am in sales, so I don't have to punch a time clock or nothing. If I need to be off a Friday to go out of town to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I just tell my boss, I'm out of town Friday. And his answer is, make sure you cover your ass. Okay, thanks. So. I don't have set days. Like Brett's in a different situation. He gets so many days off a year. So we got to kind of juggle his schedule a little bit because he punches the clock and he only gets so many days off. So it does get tough, especially with the number of tournaments there are now. It gets real tough. Luckily, he qualified at the first pro shootout and didn't have to go to anymore.
But he was happy about that.
Yes, he was.
Save some time off.
Well,
yes, he was.
Let's talk about the pro shootout. A lot of people, I'm not really familiar with it because, this is my first year back trying to get myself acclimated back to cornhole and how the ACL operates and et cetera. So tell us about the pro shootout. What is it about? How many tournaments was it? What are you guys doing in Florida for the final?
There were 8 qualifying tournaments throughout the summer. They did singles, men's and women's singles, and then doubles was combined. They did 8 tournaments. If you won a singles or a doubles at one of the tournaments, you made it to the final field of 8. And then they played down the final field of 8 2 weeks ago in Virginia Beach. I think Brett got to the final 4 and lost to Frank Milan, who just did a crazy airmail at the end to take it to overtime and get the win. And I think it's Frank and Adam Hisner in the finals of singles. And then me and Brett are battling in doubles. Me and Jamie playing Brett and Eric in the finals of doubles. And like I said, that's $50,000 and $12,000, I think, the second place. And then you got, I think it's Cheyenne and Samantha Finley playing in the women's singles.
Yep.
Now this is different. This ain't your traditional, hey, let's play to 21 and see who the best man is. This is 10 rounds. So basically our match, me and Brett will throw 5 rounds. Jamie and Eric will throw 5 rounds, and best score wins. So it's a different strategy
dynamic,
because, somebody blocks.
Things? Yeah,
it does. So if somebody blocks the hole early in the game, it's, am I going to airmail this? And if I go off, I get behind by 5 in the first round, or am I going to play it? I mean, honestly, it hasn't changed my mindset one bit. I've seen games where I've played it probably should have, but I play aggressive. I play aggressive and always have. So if I just, I play aggressive. That's the way I play. But going back and watching some of them, like, yeah, I probably should have played that shot different or done this different. But it is what it is. I play the way I play.
Well, since we got the best cornhole player in the world on the podcast, let me ask you this question. I'm curious your thought on bags. You played with the old school ACO bags back in the day, the ones with the patch on them, the China bags.
Yep.
Now the bags we have today, the game changers, the fire bags, there's so many brands out there. I can't even name them all. It's like 57 plus on the ACL website.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think the bags make the game easier? Does it take strategy out now, as opposed to like those big ACO bags that everybody started playing with, where it was like blocker bags, airmails? It just seems like that strategy of the blocker bag has been completely taken out of the game for the most part.
Sure. Oh yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, the bags are, the biggest difference is just how forgiving they are around the hole. I mean, like you talked about the old ACO 450s, you got something in the hole and then something else around the hole. There wasn't nothing going in. Yeah. Whereas now, they just kind of fall in like butter, boom, boom, boom. So obviously it makes everybody better when that happens. But there's still plenty of bags out there where you can, if you want to be a blocker, there's plenty of bags you can find to throw and stop in the middle of the board and block all you want. But there's also bags that'll slide around that bag and still go in the hole that didn't used to happen. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely made the game easier. But the way I look at it is, I mean, look at the golf clubs and golf balls these days from 20 years ago. Look at the bowling balls today from 20 years ago. I mean, stuff just advances, and you either got to stay with the times or stay behind. So, like right now, I'm throwing fire incinerators. They're a brand new bag Fire came out with. And man, they go in the hole like game changers. So I'm like, that's an advantage. I'm going to throw them. Simple as that.
Shoot, yeah.
I think we should go back and just have one old school tournament, like one invitational every year, and play it with the big bags, just to see how like the new players could handle, getting that guy block bag and then airmail after airmail.
Right.
Right.
The big bags are the old brand new corn bags.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
Brand new corn bags. Yeah, here you go.
By the end of the weekend, they're like, one of them's only half full. I love those days.
Yeah.
The dynamic of this year, how it's changed. You played with Brett forever. And this year was a big dynamic. It was a big change. You were going to go with Jamie, and Brett was with Eric. How's that worked out at family dinners, throughout the year?
Man, I think everybody's happy with the move. I mean, when you go back and look at how successful both double teams were, I think it worked out good all around. I mean, it really did. I mean, we finished the year as number 1 team. They finished as the number 2 team. I think we went 1-1 against each other when we went head to head this year. So, I mean, everybody was happy. And that would be a question for Brett, but I truly, and I've never really come out and asked him, but I think not playing with me kind of just sparked something in him and lit a fire or changed his focus or whatever, that, hey, dad ain't there to pick me up. I gotta do this myself. I think that really changed his mental set or focus or whatever, because he just locked in and had a hell of a year.
Definitely. I just didn't know if maybe he didn't pass the potatoes every once in a while.
No, I mean, we talk crap. He's been talking crap all week about how we're going down this weekend, and that's fine. It's all in fun. I get it, and we'll talk crap back and forth all the way up until the bell rings, and then we'll hug and we'll do our too sweet and may the best man win, you know.
Yeah.
And when it's over, Dad'll probably have a couple of tears in his eyes either way.
It wouldn't be the first time you've cried for Brett during a cornhole tournament.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I remember when
I'm a
cornhole.
dad, man. I'm a dad,
Yeah, man.
What can I say? I'm a dad.
Hey, so you played in the ACO for years, 15 plus years.
Yeah.
What was it that finally got you to go over to the ACL?
I mean, just where they've taken the level they've taken the game to. I mean, it was obvious. I mean, if you had your eyes open and paid any bit of attention, they were just taking it to a new level. All of my bread was buttered with the ACO, 9 King of Cornholes, 3 doubles championships with Brett. I mean, it's hard to just walk away from all that history and accomplishments, but sometimes you just got to step back and look at the future. And I've seen the future in the ACL, and Brett was with me 100%. And, the decision, we were probably going to go regardless. And then right as decision time was right there is when Jason from Fire Cornhole came calling. And, I have to say, he made the decision a no-brainer at that point. Really did.
That was kind of the icing on the cake when he
that was definitely the icing on the cake.
Yeah. You can only be but so loyal to an organization, especially when you see another organization completely tearing it up and going every place that the ACO should have been. But for some reason, they just always fell flat. And you see that in the wrestling world right now. You see that with the WWE and the AEW.
Yes, you do.
The AEW's come in and completely destroyed the WWE, and I thought that would never happen. And that is what's happening in the cornhole world right now at the ACL and the ACO.
You're exactly right. That's a good analogy. Yep.
Yeah, and all the players that played in the era where you dominated in the ACO are basically in the ACL now. I think. I think actually EZ just came over, so he's one of the last ones that I can remember.
He's one of the last old school ones.
One of the last old school ones. So. It's kind of bittersweet, but it is what it is. I think there's a good relationship between the two, but one is basically acting right now as a feeder league to the other, but the ACO is also giving players that wouldn't have an opportunity to be seen an opportunity now because they don't have all the great players in the ACL overshadowing them. So,
very true. I know they just had their first major over the weekend, and I didn't pay any attention to it. But I talked to Mike Schaefer, who's a buddy of mine, and I still talk to Mike all the time. And he's like, I know they almost had a sellout, so they're still drawing good crowds, over there. And like you said, it's good for them. Just feed more people into the game is great.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was actually their second major. They had one in
Charleston.
Charleston.
Was their second. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had one in Charleston, West Virginia, the weekend before that. Then the one in South Carolina. And they're still getting lots and lots of people out at these events. So, I'm sure they're not hurting.
It's all good for the game.
It is, man. It's all good.
It's all about is growing this game, no matter what letters, doesn't matter what letters of the alphabet we're using. Nope. We just want to grow this game and see many more players do more things. That's what it's about.
Sure.
And you've always been about the growth of the game. And yeah, sure, you've had your loyalties, but you've always been about the game. The game has always been above that. Seems to me that it's always been above that loyalty.
Yep. And you bring up loyalty. That was a big question that Trey and Stacy had for me when we made the jump. Was we know you got a lot of history with the ACO. We don't want to talk about that. We're just going to call you the greatest of all time and the most winningest player in history. I'm like, that's fine, because the way I see it, that is now in my past. I'm ACL 100% loyal to it, moving forward, and let's rock. I told him that out of the gate.
And that's the mentality you have to go into the ACL with, or, don't live in the past, live for the future. And yeah, man, that's cool.
Rookie of the year, by the way. Rookie of the year.
Oh, wait.
How? You're 50. Not even fair.
They did not call you Rookie of the Year. Seriously?
They did.
Yes, they did.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Let me ask you though. There's something, we talked about the shootout. You worked a bunch of those shootouts and you weren't able to qualify during for singles. How disappointed are you over that this year? Is that the one thing that you feel like you missed out on, or what was it this year? You got Rookie of the Year honors. You won some double stuff. What do you feel was the thing that you didn't accomplish this year as your rookie year?
I mean, disappointed is not the word I would use. Highly pissed. That's probably better. But I'm highly pissed at myself. I just didn't get it together enough. I had an opportunity. I was in the finals of singles, I think in Albany, New York. Threw great all day, and then the finals rolled around, and I just didn't have the same mental focus that last game for whatever reason. Felt like I had some bad luck a few weeks back in Iowa. I was on fire all day, averaged a 10-7 and got beat bad. Kid threw the game of his life, threw an 11-6 against me. Sometimes you shrug your shoulders. But the most of it is I look in the mirror. Anytime I lose, I mean, somebody throws a great game and 11-6 to get against me, and I threw a 10-7. I tip my hat, great game. It's the games where I just don't show up. I look in the mirror like, where were you? What was you doing? Where was your mindset? So it's all on me. Like I said from the beginning, it's up to me to throw that bag down the middle. I always put it on me. That's why when you see me lose, especially when I throw bad, I just need to get away for a minute because I'm just so fuming at myself. It just drives me nuts.
How do you get yourself out of that mindset when you're in the middle of a game? Is it possible? Have you ever done it? If you need me to explain more, like let's just say you just had the round of your life, you just had a 4-bagger, but then something happened, like your brain locked up, and then you throw one off the board, and then you're like, okay, I got to get that back, and then the next one goes off the board. You may not have had this happen to you, but I have, and I have had it happen. Yeah, and I never can get myself out of it. I try to stop and just take a deep breath, walk away from the boards, and try to regain your composure. But man, I don't know. I just haven't figured out how to get that way yet.
I mean, you said it. Breathing is the one thing that we don't think about, but it plays a lot in how our body reacts is breathing. A lot of times when you're in an intense, heated match, you're not thinking about breathing. You're thinking about, throwing that bag. But, proper breathing actually relaxes everything and makes everything happen right. So, hearing you say breathing, whenever I make a mistake like that, I always try to step back and say through the nose, out the mouth, through the nose, out the mouth, because that's the way you're supposed to breathe to keep your body right. But we don't think about that a lot. And sometimes I totally forget about it. It'll be after the game. I'll be out there like, I was just up there, just don't even know where my mind was. Don't even know if I was breathing. I have no idea.
Well, nobody was on top of you giving you mouth to mouth, so I think you were breathing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. But there is a lot to be said about breathing. There really is. I mean, it just calms everything down.
How focused are you on this shootout championship in doubles? You and Jamie got a chance to get $50,000. Tell me how focused you are.
Yeah, very focused. I mean, 100% extreme focus. You'll see it. You'll see it on my face once the bell rings Saturday. You'll see it on my face. I mean, very focused. We came in as the dream team and we didn't perform well at the World Championships. I mean, there's reasons why we didn't, but we didn't. So this is kind of our chance for a little redemption. So we got a little fire in the belly. But I know they want it too. I know they want. Brett wants to beat Dad. I know Eric wants to beat Jamie. So, it's a shame it's only going to be 10 rounds. Let me say that.
Yeah, you're right.
True, man.
That is. It does take a little bit away from it, but at the same time, it's a whole new dynamic. So it's great to see.
Yeah, it is. It is
a
whole new dynamic. Yep.
Even though Eric is young and Brett is young, they're old school players. They're not used to this 10-round thing any more than any of the other two of you are. So it's a whole different dynamic to watch how it's going to be. You're both all four of you are old school players who like the block, and you haven't. Eric's probably the only guy who started up with the new fandangled shots where the flops and the rolls are important to him. Jamie kind of does it every once in a while, but you guys are like that old school player, block airmail, slide them both. what do you see that game? How is that changing to you? Is that going to make a difference, or are you just going to keep putting them down the middle and in the hole?
I mean, if they block on me, I'm going up. I mean, that's all I can say. Block on me, I'm going up. I don't care if it's a 10-round game or a 2-round game. You block, I'm going up. That's what I do. I play aggressive. Jamie's seems like more and more trying to roll in instead of airmail. But if he feels like he can do it, I'm fine with it. And that's kind of the same thing I told Jamie when the season started, and Brett told Eric when the season started. We both kind of had the same philosophy. Hey, look, I play my game. If I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. You play your game. If you want my opinion, ask for it. Otherwise, I'm going to stand there and zip my lip and let you play. And I want the same courtesy.
But you guys, do you ever ask for like advice or on a shot or?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's certain times where, just depending on the look,
Yeah.
I don't do it a lot because generally I just see and react. I've always been that way. Generally, I just see and react. I'm not one of those guys that'll stand there looking at it for 40 seconds. I just see and react. That's the way I've played for 21 years. Seems like everybody else will, they'll ask and take their time, maybe even take a timeout and go look. I bet I called them at probably one. I don't even know if I called a timeout all year, to be honest with you. I can't remember. I can't remember calling one. I really can't.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you say, see and react, and that's the thing about it. And it's worked for you.
Yeah.
Well, we have to say that it's worked for you.
Yeah. I don't think I called a timeout all year. I don't think I did.
Well, can you tell us this? Like, what led to you and Jamie being partners? How did that all go down? Eric and Brett and you and Jamie.
Yeah, I can tell you the story. I'll make it as quick as I can. Jason messaged me, and basically it was a message that said, hey, if a sponsor came along and was going to pay you well, would you be willing to jump to the ACL and play with someone other than Brett? And my reply was, nope, I play with my son. I'm good. Thanks. That was my reply. Done. And I think it was the next day, maybe 2 days later, I was with Brett and I said, oh yeah, I got a message from Miss Jason McCann, asking me, I showed it to him and he was like, well, what's he offering? I was like, I don't know. I just, he wanted me not to play with you. So I just said, no, thanks. and Brett was like, well, you should at least see what he's going to offer. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I should at least see. So I messaged him back and we talked, and then we went down to, I think it was North Carolina. It might have been South Carolina, but we went down, me and Brett went down, and Jason flew us down, and we met with him and had dinner, and he was telling us all his ideas. But we did talk on the phone, and I was like, hey, look, for one, it would depend on what the offer was. And for number two, where would this leave Brett? I'm not leaving Brett high and dry for nothing. So, where does this leave Brett was two big questions. So when we met, it was, I want you to play with Jamie. We're a startup company. So I want to put the GOAT and the world champion together as kind of a splash to get Fire Cornhole noticed, right? New companies. So he wants to get it noticed. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense. I said, okay, well, where does that leave Brett? So he was like, well, I think I can get Eric Davis. And Brett was like, Eric's a great player. I'd be okay playing with Eric. I said, okay, well, see if you can get Eric and let's talk. So wasn't much long later, he said, hey, Eric's in and Jamie's in. So let's do it. And I signed a 4-year contract, I know, with Fire. My contract is for 4 years. I think Jamie's was for 4 years too. I can't swear to that because I don't talk other people's contracts, but I think his was. And I believe Brett's contract was a 1-year deal, and I think Eric was a 1-year deal. But Brett and Eric are getting big raises next year. I can tell you that.
That's good. That's good.
And they've earned it, and they've definitely earned it. Yeah, they're getting big raises next year, and they've earned it. So again, that's just, it brought tears to my eyes when I heard that. Like, man, that's just awesome. Just awesome. Us four us four have, it's just been amazing when you look at the caliber of competition.
Yeah.
And you look at how many finals and how many times us four were on TV this year. It's just incredible. Just incredible.
There's a plethora of ESPN videos with you, Brett, and Jamie and Eric in it. I mean, I did some looking through today, and I was like, wow, you know, you guys are living the dream. A lot of people just want to be on ESPN in a small clip, you know, once in their lifetime, and you guys are doing it, throwing a bag in a hole. You know, it's kind of crazy if you think back to when the game started in 2005 to now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a dream. It really is. It's a dream. And I just smile and take it all in stride. You know, I'm the same guy I was back in 2005 when it started. I just smile and take it all in and try to have fun.
Have you still got that belt, or are you going to get a new one now? That wrestling championship.
No, we still got the belts. Yeah, we still got the belts. You know, I got to win a ACL championship to get a new one. So that's definitely a goal of mine. Didn't happen this year. You know, I was, you know, when you looked at like PPR, I think I was number one, I believe, in the ACL. I think my PPR was number one for the season, and I was highest in this category and second in this category, and it's crazy because I felt like I was never really clicking all year. I just never felt like I was. I mean, I had tournaments where I felt like I was clicking, and then I petered out, but I never really felt like I was clicking all year. So I think there's another level I can go to yet. I really do.
What's going to take you there, though? What it's going to take to get to that next level?
It's mental. It's definitely mental. 100% mental. No question about it. Mechanics are there. Everything's there. Body's feeling good, so I can't blame it on the aches and pains. It's mental. It's mental.
Yeah, I was going to touch on like stats. Isn't that amazing how now there's stats in cornhole, PPR, and like just the stuff you can keep track of now that we didn't have a few years back, that actually makes this a legit sport now. I mean, you can compare different players in there. What are some other stats?
There's, you know, obviously points per round, four-bagger percentage, which is a cool one to look at. You know, how many times are you making a four-bagger, you know, percentage-wise? There's points for, points against. It shows your opponent's average. You know, like, you know, I could look at the opponents I played all year long and say their average was 9.82. Like, wow, you know, everybody's throwing – average-wise, throwing almost a 10 against me.
That's crazy.
It's cool stuff. Yeah, it's cool stuff. I love it. I'm a stat guy, so I love it.
Point differential is a big one too. You know, they were talking about points for and
point differential. Yeah,
point differential is huge. It doesn't always tell you. Your PPR doesn't always tell you how great you were, but when you can realize that you threw a 9.2, but yet your point differential was like 2.2 because you did what you were supposed to do by blocking and kind of things like that. It's huge what you can really analyze from those stats.
And that's the thing, you know, my PPR is going to be much higher than say Eric Davis's is because we play two different styles of game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can look at PPR and based on how the guy plays, you know, like for Eric, a 9.75 is probably a hell of a PPR because he blocks so much. You know what I mean? Where I'm looking for 10.5 and above for me.
Putting them all in a hole. That's what I've been told.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you this, man. What's your toughest match you've had in your cornhole career? Is there one you can think back to and you're like, damn,
yeah, there's
never
one
gonna be over?
Yeah. I mean, there's one that I always kind of go to. It was 2015. It was the ACL World Championships, and I was playing James Baldwin. Rob knows it. I was playing James Baldwin, and James was, you know, it was the best 2 out of 3, took it all. And the big difference with this tournament was it was 10,000 to win, and thanks for coming for second. That was it.
Wow.
It was 10 grand to win or go home with nothing. And it was best 2 out of 3. In game 1, James was blocking, and my bags looked good, felt good, no good. I mean, I just kept going for air mails and they were missing by just missing. Like, don't know what I can do different, but I kept going for it because shoot or shoot, right?
Yeah.
And man, there was around. He threw around, and he went up 18-2, I think it was, and God love James. You know, he just started like strutting down to the other end. I mean, just strutting, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. He's beating me 18-2. He's got every right in the world to strut, but something about just seeing that, I just stopped in my tracks and something just clicked. Like, you know, I was just like to myself, I was like, "Fuck this," and I went down, and I just. From that point on, I just went on the barrage, and I won that game 21-18, and the next game 21-1 or 2, because I just didn't miss anymore. Pretty much,
Wow.
Just crazy. The mind is a powerful thing. Just like I said, just that little bit of seeing him strut or whatever, man, just made something click, and boom, crazy.
Yeah, you're definitely the Michael Jordan of cornhole. That's the same kind of stuff that would set Michael Jordan off back in his NBA days.
Oh yeah, I heard stories. He'd make up stuff the guy said to him just to piss himself off. He'd make up stuff. I heard that.
There was a story. I want to say it was the coach for the Seattle Supersonics. Was it George Karl back in the day?
George Karl.
Yeah. He went to a restaurant and spoke to George Karl, and George Karl blew him off. And Jordan took that personal and went and destroyed the Supersonics the next day when they played them. And said he owed it all to George Karl for blowing him off.
Yeah. It's, I guess,
That's crazy.
It's amazing, man. The mind is a powerful thing. You don't always know how it's going to react to different things, but when it reacts in that way, it's powerful, very powerful.
So on that same note, is there a bag you wish you could have back? One that you threw and you were like, "Oh, damn."
Oh, I'm sure there's a gazillion of those.
There are, for me, yes.
Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. But actually, yeah, I'll speak of one early this year.
Okay.
We're in Vegas. I'm playing Damon Dennis in the Final Four singles.
Oh, geez.
All I got to do, I got 2 bags by the hole. All I got to do is knock 1 bag in, and the game's over. I've let go of the bag. I threw the bag. It looked good. It felt good, but I must have pushed it or something, because it hit my other bag and didn't push it in and rolled off the back. I mean, I was just like, I had no idea what happened there. I really don't. It felt good, looked good, just something happened weird to it, and I ended up losing that game. So yeah, that's the longest.
That was one of the longest that guy walks I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a long one. That was a long one.
You walked a long way.
But you know what I did after about 15 minutes of just being furious? I told myself, like, all right, that happened. It's over. You still got a doubles championship to win. Don't let 1 bad loss turn into 2. In doubles, I was boom, lights out.
Yeah, you did come back and win doubles, didn't you? That was crazy.
Strong. Came back strong. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that was it. That was a whole that you had missed the bag. He missed the bag. It was crazy that scenario towards the end of that game.
Now the last round where I blew 2 off the back, that was just me being pissed off from that bag before and just rushing, because I was just ticked that I didn't end it then. Playing should have breathed and refocused, but I was just ticked, you know.
Get you, man. Get you.
The difference between you and me is I could never recover from that. I would continue throwing my bags off the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why even when I was like throwing my best, I could never break that line. There's like the elites, there's the great players, and then there's like the jobbers. You know, we're the ones you beat up on that almost make it. I consider I was in that little area. Yeah.
Gotcha. You were Barry Horowitz, huh?
Remember
Barry Horowitz?
Brawler. Yeah.
Brooklyn Brawler.
The Brooklyn Brawler of cornhole.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to have that jersey made. The Brooklyn Brawler.
Jobber.
Yeah.
The jobber.
The jobber. Hey, how much?
I don't know if I'd go with that or not.
That could be misconstrued in so many ways, people. We're going to leave that one alone.
Cornhole.
Oh, ignore the name and play the game, folks.
Right. I like that.
Hey, so, Matt, how fun was Ventura, California, man, Spencer McKenzie's shootout?
The event itself was great. Sunday was just 100% aggravation for us.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, we loved it.
No
Loved
doubt.
met a ton of new people, but Friday was all right. Saturday, me and Brett went 7-0 in our rounders, gave up 3 points, number 1 seed. And then Sunday had no answer for that win. 0.
It was
Crazy.
I can honestly say that we are spoiled.
right.
Yeah.
Dude,
That makes a big difference, right?
Oh, sure. Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does.
How big? I mean, to you, if this league was outside, would you change your mind or would you be here? You know what I mean? This was
no,
an
I'd probably
everything
be here.
was outside.
No, I'd probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if everything was the same except it was outside, I'd still be here because I'd feel like I'd figure it out.
Yeah.
Over time, I do.
Yeah,
That's not one of the most things that are the most fun to you, figuring out the outside stuff. I know you don't like it.
Nope.
It's kind of way
Nope.
too variable with the stupid.
Like I said, I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled.
Yeah. You throw
Go
kind
ahead.
of a high bag that it's not super flat. So in that wind, it acts as a damn parachute, man. It just catches.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, it was like I said, Ventura was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
But like I said, if it was all outside, and a lot of the years I played in tournaments, were outside tournaments, and I would figure out ways, and that was why I could win a lot of tournaments, especially back in the day on boards and corn bags, because like every bag and board was different, so every game took a different throw. I was able to figure out and adjust. So I feel like I could adjust if I had to do it all the time. I feel like I could, but I don't have to worry about it. So
a nice series outside would be pretty cool, just for 6 or 7 tournaments, just to see the diversity in everybody's game, see who could rise to the top in those different places. It'd be neat because they do that in tennis. They have so many different surfaces that you can play on. It'd be pretty cool if cornhole did something inside, outside, or something, just something a little bit.
I don't see that happening though, just because of the TV and the weather. No, I don't see that happening.
Right.
Too many variables.
When it because it costs a pretty penny to get all that TV stuff there. So if it's outside and you got a bad weekend of weather, you're screwed. So I don't see that happening.
You got to figure out canopies so the wind still matters. Get us some canopies. Atlanta, you saw how it was in Atlanta.
Yeah. Yep. Sure did.
You know what I enjoyed about Spencer McKenzie's was hearing Rob commentate on the sideline with the matches. That was entertaining right there.
Appreciate it.
I didn't know Rob had that kind of talent.
Oh yeah. It just comes natural.
It does come natural, but it's fun. I like it. I like to be able to.
Fun is fun, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So,
I enjoy being able to paint the picture. Yeah, I see people can see it from far away without having to be there.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it.
So, hey, Matt, what do you do, man, besides cornhole and work? You got to do something else for fun. You got a favorite TV show, favorite movie you just watch over and over?
Karaoke.
Yeah.
That's the right song.
So, I mean, when I work, I get home. I'll either go practice for a little bit or I'll toss football with my youngest son, Carson, who's playing high school football, or me and him will go out and toss football. And then when I go to bed, basically is when I watch any TV that I watch. Usually for me, it's Family Guy. I usually fall asleep watching Family Guy just because I like to laugh and it's funny. So Family Guy is definitely a show we've been watching for, my Lord, probably from day one. Me and Brett and Sean and Carson. And every time we're together, don't matter what it was, there's always going to be several Family Guy references thrown around because it's just funny.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not cornhole and it's not work, it's usually having the grandkids over and my boys over, and we all just hang out as a family or going to my parents and just hang out and do whatever. I mean, I'd say Family Guy is my favorite show, and I am a family guy. I love being around my family, and when I'm not doing something else, that's what we do. We get together as a family, and I love it. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
I saw on your Facebook page, Carson's football player, huh? He's a
Yes.
big old boy too. Yeah.
He's he played freshman football last year, and after the season, he was like, "Hey, I think I want to play football all 4 years." Like, really? He's like, "Yeah, I do. I want to play all 4 years." So, I told him, "Hey, football is a man's game. You got to get bigger, stronger, faster. Especially if you want to see the field, you got to get bigger, stronger, faster." So, starting in October, he's been going to a personal trainer 3 days a week, and yeah, he's getting some pecs now and getting some build. And he's definitely gotten bigger, stronger, faster, turning into a man on me.
he doesn't have that that urge to play cornhole, huh? He doesn't
does
have
not.
that part of Guy Nation in him.
He does not. Nope. He'll go throw here and there, but no, it's not eating at him. I can tell you that.
I got you. He's probably still better than the average player.
He's probably average. Yeah, average, right.
They'd probably win a family reunion crew game or something.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Sounds like a future Guy Nation Crew Cup team right there. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Big story. So when I was hanging out with Flutie, basically teaching him how to play cornhole, more or less.
Doug Flutie, football player.
Doug Flutie, football player,
okay.
And he's got an exact replica of the 1966 Batmobile, and it's a year and a half old. He had it special built, but it's an exact replica of the 66 Batmobile. But it's cool as hell. And we were at his house practicing, and he was like, "Hey, I got to go to my nephew's baseball game." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. We'll go to our hotel, take a shower, rest up, and we'll meet up for dinner later." And he's like, "Yeah, perfect." So we agreed to meet at like 8 o'clock or whatever for dinner. So we get there, and it was like 20 after 8. And I text him. I'm like, "Hey, you on your way, brother?" And he's like, "Yeah, 10 minutes out." So he finally got there, and he's like, "I'm having problems with the Batmobile. It's overheating on me." He's like, "I had to stop and put water in the damn thing 3 times." He's like, "Oh, shit." I was like, "Well," I said, "Is it cool now?" He's like, "Yeah, it's all right now." I said, "Well, you're a mile from your house. Just get it home, and we'll check it out tomorrow." So the next day, got there, and I had him back it out, and I just started looking around, and sure as shit, I found a hole in a radiator hose. So I was able to basically fix it, get it together, and he drove it to where were we playing? Where was that national?
Winter Haven, right?
Winter Haven. So yeah, he drove it from where he lives to Winter Haven and back, and did fine. So ever since when I fixed the Batmobile, I was definitely his bro at that point.
There you have it, folks. Matt Guy hanging out with NFL quarterbacks, Doug Flutie fixing his Batmobile. A day in the life of Matt Guy.
Because he was disappointed because he was going to drive it to Winter Haven, and then he was disappointed because he couldn't get it to his mechanic, he said, till Monday. I was like, I'll check it out for you. So, yeah, like I said, after I fixed it, we were bros because he was able to drive it, and it's been good ever since, he said.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool story.
That's how it's done.
Rob, you got anything else, man?
No, man. I thank you very much for the time. We really appreciate you coming on and talking and the insight, man. It's good hanging out with you, and thank you, and good luck this weekend. I'll be there. So
right on.
Get to hang out a little bit, maybe drink a beer or two together.
Absolutely. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Bring home all that big money, and thanks for being on the Sticky Side, man. We appreciate it.
100% my pleasure, and I'm sure reach out to Brett if you ever want to have Brett on. I know he'd do it in a heartbeat. So, by all means, put him on your list. He'd love to do it.
After he wins this weekend, we'll get him.
After he wins this weekend, it'd be a good time to get him. Because he would have the right to talk all the crap he wants about Dad at that point.
That'll be awesome.
You got anything you want to plug right quick besides the shootout, Fire Cornhole bags?
Shootout Saturday the 18th at 1 o'clock on CBS. Obviously, Fire's got the new incinerator bag out there. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. I think you'll really like it. That's my new bag, and that's what me and Jamie will be throwing in the shootout this weekend. And obviously, thanks to all my sponsors, Slick Woodies, Fire, Bud Light. It's awesome. I love it. I appreciate them putting their trust in me, and here's to another great year coming up.
Awesome. All right, man.
Keep up the good work, man.
Don't forget, like and subscribe. You can find the Sticky Side wherever you get your podcasts on. That'll be iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, Google Podcast, wherever. Also on YouTube, Naughty Donkey Productions. And Rob, your YouTube channel will be having it also, right? What is that?
Yes, sir. Talk Cornhole.
We'll see you next time, man. Have fun at the shootout. And
Appreciate it, man.
This is Mike. We'll see you later. Peace.
All right, guys.
Cause we all just wanna be cornhole stars saying keep hotels and driving beat up cars. The crowd gets crazy and the beers ain't cheap. We get drunk all day so we just don't eat. And we hang out at the local bar, throwing bags in the hole like we have it all.